I am live. Here I am. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep track on my screen. John Overman, nice to see you. Right. It looks blurry, unfortunately. Well, oh well. Maybe that's just my screen. So I hope everyone's having a good time with Top and Fiction Summit. Just heard from Cover, who wrote a great story, and Lancelot also. Hello. Lancelot also, God, Lancelot, what a act to follow. Emily, hello. Jesse, hello. Yeah, Lancelot. Um, God, the hair, huh? Um, he actually inspired me because he wrote from so many different things that I might also sneak in a little extra reading from my book, Lamb. Which you can see behind me too. Um, because the story I'm reading this morning is relatively short. So I'm just gonna wait. Nick Winnie, hello. So glad to see you. Um, Summer Wolf, great to see you. Ooh, box cover. Thank you, Emily. Yeah. Um, I'm just gonna wait a couple minutes while people join, and but yeah, like I said, I can't say enough about Lancelot's reading. He's such an engaging narrator, and yeah, this is distracting. Anyway, so I'm going to be reading today, as Comer mentioned, a short story called Fyodor, and that is actually from a novel that I'm going to be publishing this coming summer. It will be my second novel. Lamb was the first one, and the second one is actually the first one that I wrote back during lockdown in 2020, which also broke a 34-year writer's block. And um, and so this story is actually it's also got the story has a backstory as well. So the story is backstory for one of the characters in the novel, and also the story itself has a backstory, which I will mention at the end. Yes, Nick, he was a wild Shakespeare firebrand. Yes, he was amazing. Good God. Anyway, um, so backstory. I will mention where it kind of was inspired at the end of this reading, of this first reading, and then to, if there's time, which I think there will definitely be time, a quick reading from my novel Land, which I published in June. So lockdowns did do something for writers. Yeah, I mean, it kind of forced me to get out of my head finally, and since there was nothing else to do, but just, had ways to trick myself into writing for 10 minutes a day until I had 300 pages. So there you go. So anyway, so Fyodor. Fyodor is a character in my book Waterspell that I'm going to be publishing this summer, and he is a great big bear of a bald Russian guy who lives in San Francisco, and this was imagined uh, as like an episode from his childhood to kind of give him some backstory and so forth. So I'm going to read this and then tell you what the real life inspiration for the story also was. So here we go. Fyodor. Oh, please. Fyodor. When Fyodor was 10 years old, his mother sent him down to the concrete playground between their building and the three other 9-story apartment blocks on their plaza. Most of the Khrushchevki the government built were shorter 5-story walk-ups. "We're lucky to have an elevator," his mother said as she rearranged his thick black curls, more for fun than effect. They waited for what seemed ages in the crud orange hall, a color some officious party architect believed cheerful. When his father was with them, he would take the stairs so his wife and son could ride up or down together. The coffin-sized elevator was barely big enough for two, and slow enough that he would race to arrive before them and always pretend surprise when the door opened. That blue winter day, his father's last teaching poetry at the crumbling College of Humanities in Moscow before the Christmas break, Fyodor's mother sent him out to play with an onion sandwich wrapped in. "Be a good boy, Fyodor. Mama has to clean and mop the floors." She buttoned his sweater, zipped up his jacket, pulled his cap down over his ears, and kissed him many times on each cheek, on his nose and each eye, his dimples and his chin with great loud lip smackings. She kept on until he squealed with laughter, and she was sure he was full of her love and happiness, and then sent him down. "I'll come to get you when I'm finished." As the elevator door closed, she rubbed her stomach with both hands, and Fyodor thought she must be hungry. She had been tired lately and often seemed thoughtful. He played by himself for a while, and then the other children came out for the day. He was popular, bigger than the rest of the kids. One girl pined for him, but he was more fond of her little brother, 5 years old, blonde and wide-eyed. The sister was jealous and tried to push the boy out of the way so Fyodor would play only with her on the swings and carousel. But Fyodor was firm that they should both have a turn. In his heart, he preferred to shepherd the boy like an adored puppy. At lunchtime, the children all left to go home, but Fyodor stayed and ate his sandwich alone, and he had his thoughts of the boy to keep him company. He dangled lazily on the swing, thinking how nice it would be to have a younger brother of his own. They could run and swim and horse around. They would share a bedroom, and he could help him to dress and get ready for school and walk him by the hand to his classroom. He asked his parents once if he would ever have a brother, and they were quiet for a moment, then explained that his mother's heart was not strong, and when she carried Fyodor inside of her, the doctors and everyone were very worried. After he was born, they said she should not have another baby. It was too bad. He really would have liked a little brother, and so he admired the young blond boy best of all the other kids, who were mostly older. At 5, the child was too young to be a real friend, but Fyodor liked to think about him at night when he was alone and wished he had someone close by in the dark. His mother and father were always too worried or tired from working to stay long in his room as they tucked him in, and he was getting too old now for stories and cuddling. The other kids trickled back out of the playground after lunch, and the stark winter sunlight slid between the two buildings that cast shadows across the yard much of the day. Fyodor took off his jacket, and he ran with the other kids around the carousel, and then he took off his sweater too, because it was hard work. But he was the only one of the older kids who could turn the wheel while the little ones clung to it, laughing and screaming to go faster and faster. The blond boy and his sister did not come back out after lunch, but he had many friends of all ages, and they played until the sun disappeared behind Building 9, the signal for them all to go home because the mothers had finished their cleaning and their cooking and their washing for the day, and they might have a late snack before their fathers got home from work. Fyodor's mother did not come. He continued to ride on the carousel by himself when all the other children went home, one foot on the wheel, the other kicking, spinning himself round and round for a long time, until the world seemed to him an endless rushing film, building in sky, building in playground, building in sky again. Though his mother often seemed sad that they lived in this gray place, he found it nice, the sky and the playground and the other kids and even the parking lot where his father drove up after teaching, and sometimes Fyodor was still there playing. And so he was not worried that his mother had not come to get him after all the rest of us went home. At some point, though, he had to pee. It was getting cold, the sun was down. He put his sweater and his coat back on, and when he could hold it no longer, he took the tiny elevator up to their floor and knocked on the door of their apartment. He waited a minute, then knocked again, dancing around from foot to foot. He knocked again, but now it was an emergency, and he thought she might have gone to Mrs. Petrushka's for tea and forgotten to come get him. He went down the hall and knocked on the old lady's door. When she cracked it open and peered out, Fyodor was screwed up into a frantic, urgent knot, and she waved him straight through to the water closet. He told her what happened, and Mrs. Petrushka walked down the hall with him to knock on the door, and when again there was no answer, she tried to call on the telephone in her apartment, but no luck. She offered to let him stay with her until his mother came home. She must have gone out to the market. And Fyodor said thank you, but he would go down to the playground again until his father came, any time now. He knocked on the apartment door one more time before he went back downstairs, even pressed his ear against it to listen for her footsteps. His father was late coming home from work. Not long, only a half hour. But by the time he walked past the playground, it was dark, and Fyodor had long since run out of fun. He was cold, he was worried, and he had never wished so badly for a little brother beside him. Mrs. Petrushka stood fretting in the hallway when the elevator door opened. She was worried too and had been listening for his father to arrive. She said she had some nice rolls straight from the oven with some margarine and milk. And when Fyodor liked a bite to eat while his father said hello to his mother after his long day at work. Fyodor was confused, but he was thirsty and hungry, and his father said what a good idea. He would be down to get him in just a minute as he bungled with his keys. And Mrs. Petrushka led Fyodor into her warm kitchen, which smelled so good and the rolls were delicious, crusty outside and soft as cotton inside. But it was quite some time before his father came down the hall to get him. Fyodor had eaten 3 rolls and finished his milk, and Mrs. Petrushka was running out of songs to hum when the knock finally came. Mrs. Petrushka went to answer. His father sat down heavily at the table in the kitchen and was silent. Fyodor asked if he wanted a roll and jumped up to fetch one, but when he brought it, his father grabbed him and crushed him to his chest. The roll squashed between them. His father whispered hoarsely just one thing, and Mrs. Petrushka rushed to the cupboard to produce it. Vodka. So that is Fyodor. And that's a hard one, actually. I'm getting a little misty because it's actually based on a friend of mine who, when he was about 7 years old, um, he lived in Vienna, Austria, and his mother was an artist, and in fact, she did have a heart condition. And he went outside one day, and he went back up to go home. There was no answer at the door. He couldn't get in, and as it turns out, his mother had died. So that was the incident from my friend that I used as the backstory for this character. And unfortunately, my friend also died at a relatively young age, at around 50. And so that was probably about 10 years ago now. And so I remember this story with a lot of emotion because my friend Alex was a good friend and someone that I really cared about. So that was Fyodor, and the book is called Waterspout, and I don't have a definite release date except summer 2026, and so that will be. It's the story of a young fine art painter named Jimmy, who is, let's say, a bit of a lush, and and has some trying adventures in in uh, in his life, and as he's trying to become, sort of a better known painter than he is. So, thank you for your lovely, lovely words. And so now I'm going to actually, I think we just have time, and I don't think this is only a 3-page section. So, from my book, Land, which I just published in June. It's the story of the title character Lamb and his best friend Dee, the narrator, and um, and the book has a lot of it has a lot of journal entries, letters, short stories. It's called a novel in snapshots because it's like, all the different chapters. This was a serial on Substack. And so it was, serial posts every 2 weeks. Actually, I didn't even do it every week for about a year. And then to June last year to great acclaim. Um, and, uh, and so this is one of the short stories, which was ostensibly written by the title character, Lamb, and it tells of his visit with his friend Dee to his grandmother um, in Southern California, and they go, to this retirement home where she lives to visit her, and it was actually originally inspired by a Virginia Woolf story, as a couple of the episodes, the snapshots in Lamb were also actually inspired by, not closely, but were inspired by Virginia Woolf's short stories in The Haunted House and other stories. So this one is called The Watch on the Wall, and it's by Willem Broder. The real name of the title character, Lamb, is Willem Broder. So, do you like it? She asks. But she knows that I do. The watch on the wall, the gold watch, engraved with a snail, a dragonfly, a beetle. It had stood on a table in her old house, hanging from a hook inside a bell jar. But since she's moved to the Hotel Chrysanthemum, a shelf on the wall near her chair is its new home. She can just turn her head, she says, to tell the time. She winds it every day. We turn our heads now and look together. It's a lot of fun. I've always thought so, since I was little. This is true. The Art Nouveau watch has always fascinated me. Heavy with gold, iridescent green, and amber enamel. I only touched it once. 3 or 4 years old, when my grandmother lifted the glass and retrieved it to show my mother, a keepsake of a husband long dead, a grandfather before him, recently cleaned and repaired. I was allowed to hold it for barely a moment, my mother's hands hovering around mine, just long enough to feel its heft, then snatched away. It was your grandfather's, Willem, she says again. She always says. It's yours now. I've never considered it mine, father to son, but I never had a son until you. She means grandson. The moment passes. My friend sits in the wing chair nearest the TV, glances at us furtively with the remote poised in his hand. The channel changes from flags and soldiers to tennis match. He sighs, sinks back, hiding. Pass me my cigarette, my darling. Thank God, cries the wing chair. I take a cigarette from my own pocket too, but lean forward to light my grandmother's first. Her eyes flash her approval. She inhales gratefully. I light my own. My friend revives, lights one too. Ashtrays on every table. 80 years distilled into 2 rooms and a kitchenette. Furniture on furniture, shelf upon shelf, pictures and paintings, cheek by jowl, boxes and baubles, books and bird cages, empty, flown the coop. And nestled within the center, powdered and rouged for our audience, she sits, a babe again, wise and wizened. Ash dusts the table, dusts the chair arm, her sleeve. I imagine her slowly buried in ash, turn to ash herself, reach over to hold her hand. It's nice to see you, I say. What are you reading? I point at the yellowed paperback slipped between the cushion and the arm of the chair. Huxley, she says with a wink. It's your father's. She means grandfather. She glances at the watch. Where can he be? He died in World War II. He doesn't like me to read his books, but I like to keep current. Brave New World, 1932. Another bigger sigh emerges from the wing chair. The channel changes again. Cowboys under siege, arrows landing like lilies, clasped to breasts. I wanted to tell you something, I say. Mama doesn't want me to tell you, but That mouse, she laughs, shaking her head fondly. To think I raised such a beige wit. She laughs even harder as I blink at her audacity. She nods toward the wing chair. Grand dame sees all. He's very handsome. Is it love? A quizzical eye peeps around the chair. Oh, we're just friends. You could do worse, she says. Much worse, agrees the echo. Tea? Yes, please, says the echo. She wants to rise, but I stop her. I set the kettle on the doll stove, rummage through the cupboard. Your father will have coffee. She means grandfather would have had. Looks like we're out. Of course. Curse this war. God damn this war. 3 cups of tea, 3 more cigarettes. I rinse everything in the sink, set them to dry on the yellow towel. When I step back in the room, she's got the bell jar set aside, watch in hand. This is for you. I shake my head. No, I can't. She is insistent, almost angry at my refusal. But it's yours. He's always meant for you to have it. It was never mine, and it's certainly not your sister's. She means mother. You must take it. He'll be upset if you don't. Please, honey. She puts it in my reluctant hand, closes my fingers around it. Her eyes are moist, soft again. She kisses us both on the cheek as we leave. We're halfway down the hall when she calls after us. Be careful out there, dears. Don't let the butt flu get ya. She means AIDS. Right. So that was Watch on the Wall from Lamb, an episode. And I just want to say the last line about the butt flu. So I have to say I was actually dinged in a review for that line because they were like, "There's no way that a 70 whatever or 80 however old woman would say something like that." And the crazy thing is that actually, I mean, it was a very cheeky way of putting it, and at the time it was really traumatic and horrible for everybody, but decades later, it was uh, it was kind of history by that point. And it was in fact a 75-year-old woman, a coworker who had a ton of gay friends, who told me about the butt flu, and so I used that in the story. And of course, that was the thing that I got dinged on. It was, however, a lovely older woman named oh god, I can't remember her name right now. Judith, who told me about the butt flu. So anyway, that is my criticism. Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you, Emma Knight. My grandmother says insane things, so I think it's very believable. Lovely. Perfect. So I'm gonna just take a peek and see if there's any bits and bobs, questions, and so forth. Shakespearean firebrand. Yes, Lancelot is a Shakespearean firebrand. Fabulous mane of hair, the swine. Of course, Mr. Winnie, the befezed. Um, yeah, wasted years. Oh no, it's not wasted years. Nothing is wasted in life as far as I can tell. I'm back. I'm back? Where did I go? Thank you. Love what you do, Mr. Ford. Thank you, Nick. Lovely. Little old ladies with sad things. All my crops are sadly gone. Oh, me too. Yeah, my parents as well. Oh, Sky. Hey, nice to see you. So that is me. And you can follow me or subscribe to me on Substack at Ford Knows Books. Actually, it's troyford.substack.com. And I'm also the creator of QStack, qstack.substack.com, which is the community of queer Substacks, and the directory and the platform and so forth. We've got some big changes coming soon with QStack, which I'll be announcing next week, or no, excuse me, the week after. So thank you so much, everybody. And I'm just going to announce that the next person coming up is, and I can't neglect to to thank Erica Drayton. Holy cow. Top in fiction, stupendous event, so many wonderful writers, and so many great readings. Erica, you are a sorceress, and we love you. And thank you so much for all of this, and for all the other writers too. So, the next person up directly after me at the half hour is going to be Tom Schechter, who writes the Shieldbreaker Saga. And the story he's going to be reading is called Between Us, which he originally wrote for Garen Marie's small and scary big and beastly event last summer. So that will be great. And I thank you all for tuning in. Lots of love. And we'll see you in the stacks. Take care. Ciao.